I'm Daemonxel, and it's time for your Eve Echoes Weekly News Update, where we dive into all the happenings of the week. But first, if you can tag that subscribe button and ring that bell, you can stay up to date with everything that this channel has to offer. Now, this week, my little pilot had hit the Big 10 in poundage and has been doing very well. He is starting to smile, he's starting to hold his head up, as well as adhering to an actual schedule that allows my wife and I to actually obtain some sleep. Looking forward to the 28th, where he will have another download off of his apnea monitor, and then hopefully the doctor will recommend him coming off of it so he won't, look like a robot that needs to be plugged into every night to recharge. Alright, this week we had our patch notes. Now, there wasn't really any new information, except the tried and true estimated market prices have been updated. But there were several fixes. First one, they fixed part of the freighter description to mention freighter capacitor instead of freighter manufacturing material efficiency. They fixed a bug where heavy interdiction cruiser modules would sometimes not display, especially after moving modules from slot to slot, arranging them when you're out in space. They fixed a bug where corporation assets interface would not load. And this is a big one. The newly added command chips now support insurance claims. To the surprise of a lot of eager destroyer pilots this week, and other command pilots that couldn't insure their ship, which I'm sure really sucked when they saw it explode. Now, of course, they have not commented on the other fixes that needed to take place, such as the abysmal drop rate on the new burst modules. However, they seem to have fixed the graphic glitch when using them that turns the user's screen black. They had also fixed the missing Citadel glitch that would often happen on an overview from time to time. This week in your Plex market report, Plex has been slowly creeping higher and higher as we see Plex cross that 2.2 million threshold per unit. Who knows if it'll keep climbing or if it'll come down anywhere in the near future. Currently, the big money is in the new burst modules that sell for around 200 million for both the shield and the armor, and close to 400 million each for the skirmish module. Now, the blueprints, which are very scarce on the market, when they are on there, they can be found upwards of 500 million each. This week, we have seen fighting in the south localized in and around Ketch that saw multiple stations fall and both sides rejoicing. The first station to fall this week would be the Catch-22 Citadel in RR Tech D05, which fell under the weight of the Content Coalition forces with little to no defense. This marks the first Citadel kill in some time by the Content Coalition forces, however, it does come with a caveat. This station had been put into whole by Catch-22 themselves, as it was learned from a source within Catch-22 that the system was being given over to a new corporation alliance within Catch-22, and FRA, the original owners, were moving to a new system. They had also went on record that they really wanted to get the kill mail themselves. Warp had a few timers this weekend as well that needed defending. The first of these this weekend was an early CTA where Content Coalition forces sat and waited for the Pan-Gen 22 forces to arrive. As the attacking fleet moved towards the system, they noticed a no fleet that had been hired by the Content Coalition following them, driving them towards the CC defending fleet. Not wanting to be caught on both sides, the Pan-Gen 22 fleet turned around, burned back to a home system away from the CC fleet to engage the no forces. There was a skirmish between these fleets which prevented the fight with the Content Coalition and overall saved the Citadel timer. In a surprising move, a corp within Warp did not coordinate an anchoring of a new Citadel, which, with only a few hours' notice, required another defensive CTA to be called. This Citadel would not be as lucky as the previous hull timer defense, as mounting Pan-Gen 22 forces arrived early and started attacking the Citadel as the timer started its last 15-minute window. The Content Coalition forces were late to group and arrived on grid with the Citadel already in 2/3 into its structure. Both fleets clashed as anchors were called, and Pan Gen 22 split DPS between almost even number fleet of the Content Coalition and the Citadel. In the end, the Citadel was lost and the objective complete for Pan Gen 22 as the Content Coalition fleet moved to eradicate the invading fleet. Now, the number breakdown for the Battle of the PEK Station: the total ships lost on the Pan Gen 22 side were 69. The Content Coalition lost 38 ships. The total ship ISK value loss on the Pantheon Gensis side was 52 billion, and the Content Coalition side was 17.8 billion. Of course, you do have to factor in the one lost Citadel, so that brings up the total ISK loss value of 30.7 billion on the Content Coalition side, and just the 52 billion on the Pantheon side. The average ISK loss per ship on the Pan Gen 22 side was 765 million, whereas the average on the CC side was 470 million. Now, being that insurance is 30% of the total ship, we can estimate that the Pan Gen 22 in total, after total insurance coverage, their losses would be 15.6 billion, whereas the Content Coalition after insurance was 5.3 billion, not including the Citadel, though, because they cannot be insured, and we hope they never will be. Now, this extensive spreadsheet was put together by Weird Bob, and a link will be available in the description below. He has stated that moving forward, he will painstakingly pull from all Corp logs on the CC side to put together as accurate as possible battle reports, as we're seemingly waiting forever for an API to release from NetEase. After the Battle of PEK, there were celebrations on both sides. Pan Gen 22 forces, having obtained their objective, were happy with the outcome and have provided a statement. We killed a fair amount as well. Yes, the main objective was accomplished. And yes, the losses are acceptable. Ships can be replaced at 30% cost. Citadels cannot. They have also gone on record wondering why the Content Coalition is celebrating at all, having lost the Citadel that was anchoring. The Content Coalition have been celebrating the outcome over the Pan Gen 22 fleet and have stated that they accept it as an acceptable loss, since the Corp should have known better and has learned a valuable lesson, as well as the system holding no strategic importance currently for the war effort. Most alliances within the CC, aside from Warp, view it as a decisive victory, as they had only learned that day that they needed to defend the anchoring Citadel. Either way, both sides seem to be happy with the outcome, no matter what the other side says. Gensis fleets have been trying to strip shields from ACR Citadels in the KTEC 9 and ZID systems in Fae the other night and return the following day to make another run on them. However, what lay for them, besides a defensive fleet this time, was a plan to separate the Logi from the rest of the attacking fleet. When the fleet jumped back to D4 from KTEC 9, the trap was sprung and the defensive fleet pounced. The fight was quick, as the CC fleet took a lot of the Gen ships, and the remainder warped away and safe logged. In a surprise move this week, FTL Alliance has broken off from ACR and joined Pantheon. When reaching out to ACR about this, the statement I received was, FTL is a small alliance that mainly focuses on PvE, story missions, and limited PvP, frig roams and of the such. Their involvement in the current war itself is none to minimal at best. They mostly kept to themselves with local defensive PvP and only on occasion asked ACR to help. The leaving of FTL is neither a surprise nor any consequence, since they were small and offered little to no actual assistance to the war at hand. However, we do wish them well and hope that they find what they're looking for within Pantheon. Alright, I partner up with a podcast called Echoes of New Eden. Those that watch to the end of the video are familiar with it, and longtime viewers of the show know that I've been an avid supporter of Rambo's show since the beginning. This week had yours truly in the hot seat So if anyone wanted to learn more about me or my thoughts on several topics, they can shoot over and check it out. He also has a roundtable discussion every week featuring members of his Discord community. If you have some topics you'd like discussed or would like to participate in this roundtable, please join his Discord and have at it. With all the balance changes now a week in, I checked in with a known destroyer main pilot within Pantheon to see how these changes has affected his gameplay. Mr. Dash has been known for flying destroyers in excess of 1 billion IST. I ask, I understand that you are a destroyer main. How has this recent round of balancing affected your gameplay? He answers back, I used to almost exclusively fly the Thrasher Interdictor 2. You can either fly it as intended as an interdictor, or you can drop the interdiction module and fly as a T9 combat thrasher by throwing on tracking disruptors or whatever else you'd want to have on it. Now, with those gone, there's no turret options after T5, so I have to fly an overpriced low-tier destroyer to stand a chance. Not that affordable versions can't do their job, as you saw yesterday. We had a little skirmish during an interceptor roam, which he did die. The buffs the destroyers got are good and much needed, but in the end don't mean much effectively. Destroyers need to be able to hold their own against frigs, and the fact is, even with the buff, they can't. I asked him next, up until recently you flew some of the blingiest destroyers I've ever seen. What have been your highest destroyer loss? A 1.1 billion Thrasher Interdictor 2. I wanted to make one more expensive with burst 3s instead of 2s, but I never got the chance. But I misplayed by not orbiting the Ferox, and was instead orbiting the Scepter, so he had an easy shot on me, on this kill mail. One thing these expensive destroyers have done is on each loss I have learned a valuable lesson and improved as an overall pilot. I finish off with, so what will you be flying now that interdictors have been effectively neutered? Going forward, I will continue to fly the Navy fleet issues as my main ships. Cormorants being my new favorite, but Thrashers still hold a special place in my heart. I'm also working on my way into drones so that Command Destroyer becomes available, I can be more useful on a fleet level, and then when T10 rolls around, I'll be moving into an Algos and Dragoon Assault 2s as my new bling destroyers. Mr. Dash also has one of, if not the first, Command Destroyer deaths on the live server, and this did occur before they fixed the bug where you couldn't insure the Command Destroyers. Alright, there we've seen this week a new community emerge. This would be the Not Purple Shoot It. It's a community initiative to bypass the usual diplomatic restraints of playing with people outside of your corporation, alliance, or coalition. I have deployed a corporation citadel underneath the banner of Newt Tournament. Now, the person running this community is Rep of Void, or formerly of Void, and he wants to know that this corporation will never be aligned with an alliance or have members within other than his sole account. The Coliseum will remain an open port for all players in New Eden to dock and interact with. From the Coliseum, he will host community tournaments, challenges, and the Not Purple Shoot It community. The community he wishes to build is open to all to fly, fight, and die together. Abandon the chains of diplomacy and enjoy the bloodshed and friendship he has to offer. His goal is to turn MTech OEE8 into the Tama of Nullsec. He wants to see a non-stop 24-hour PvP bubble on the star map. No longer should you have to search for PvP content or deal with those pesky gate guns. He is working to get in contact with NetEase to get their spotlight on the Community League tournament, and he's hoping to build this up. Spread the word, get hyped for the first ever Coliseum tournament. Now, those of you out there who are not familiar with a Not Purple Shoot It scenario, if you ever played EVE Online, a similar concept would be the Bomber's Bar. Alright, this week there is no Corporation Alliance Spotlight. So the schedule is currently open, and if you want to throw some shine on your corporation or your alliance, please contact me on Discord. On the bounty board, we have 2 big bounties to add to the board this week, straight from the big man in Silent Alliance himself, True Beast. Both of these bounties are for No Please Stop pilots, Tahini, as well as a fish. These bounties pay out a staggering 100% PPK up to a cap of 1 billion per kill, and will run concurrent week to week. There are some exclusions on these. 1. They cannot be turned in by any pilot within No. 2. They cannot be killed flying a trainer ship or a prototype such as the Zanyu or the Kanyu. Basically, there is no fraud, and if there is fraud, there will be no payout. Now, we do have another bounty out, and this one is from Himbagoodboi and his wife, Rice Bunny 18. They are offering a 30% PPK contract out on Santiago, as well as his alt payable up to 500 million. This bounty will be running until June 15th. Now, I don't have a lot of big kills this week because, like I've said before, you need to send me directly your big kills. I belong to a multitude of Discord servers, and with everything I have going on, I just do not have the time to comb through these servers and search for these big kills. So send them directly to me, and I will put them up on the list. This week, from the Mercenaries Coalition, we have a 3.7 Gila kill. From Void, we have a 2.7 Vigilant kill. From Mug, we have a 17.5 billion Rattlesnake kill. And from OG, we have a 3 billion Raven kill. Alright, now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the show, the solo kills of the week, and a chance to win a free Omega combo. This week we do have 2 honorable mentions. The first is a sort of a PSA showing that fleet warps can be weaponized. This Ashimu was invited to fleet and then fleet warped to the gate, where the pilot, surprised, unaware of his surroundings, started to nuke Pepe from Pew and then immediately got wrecked by the gate guns. Always be aware of your surroundings. The next honorable mention goes out to Tyrus Damon, a member of the corp that I'm in, Evo 1, and this 3.1 billion Gila kill by him piloting a Condor Interceptor. However, he is not eligible this week due to more than 1 participant on the kill mail, even though they are NPC rats. Alright, let's go down the list and see exactly who made the list this week. First, we have Jay Worthing with a 1.3 billion Worm kill. We have Venomune with a 1.4 billion Daredevil kill. Bad Luck Chuck hits with a 1.9 billion Cinnable kill. D Squared with a 2.548 billion Cinnable kill. Noxmaster with a 2.564 billion Badger kill. Freya Bloodlust with a 2.7 billion Ashimu kill. Victoria Wild with a 2.8 billion Cinnable kill. Mistrix Meow with a 3.3 billion Phantasm. Good Space Guy with a 3.6 billion Phantasm kill as well. And this week's runner-up is the Mercenary Coalition's own Incognito with a staggering 12.6 billion Vindicator kill. Now, just a little background on this kill. I am told that this pilot who killed this is actually a Alpha pilot, and I'm told that the Vindicator pilot was actively fighting back, so it's not a AFK kill. And the winner this week goes out to Pew's own Pepe El Jefe for this incredible 15.6 billion Rattlesnake kill. Now that is one great looking kill there. Pepe, contact me on Discord to receive your free Omega combo. And that's our show this week. Now, if you need more news in your life, I recommend that you go over and check out Rambo's podcast, The Echoes of New Eden, where they have, outstanding members of the community, content creators, FCs, just wonderful interviews, as well as a weekly roundtable discussion on a random topic. With that being said, I want to wish everyone a great week, a great weekend. Fly safe, and remember, we are always one vision, one purpose, one front. Fly safe.